What is going on out there, peeps? All right, as usual, the talk is gold and silver. I told you there was a couple days I was listening to these conferences. Some of the conversations were kind of boring, but it's interesting to see. Let me tell you one thing that bothers me is this. It's not even hidden no more. It's a fact, and it's widely known that these markets are being manipulated. The thing that gets me is how could they get away with this legally? Obviously, they can't. But what's being done about it? Nothing. I keep telling you that these bankers, these politicians, the media, all these people are all bed buddies. They keep each other rich by protecting one another. That's what happens. That's like during the so-called bailout for the banks. We didn't see anybody go to the jail. Nobody whatsoever for all the crap that they did to the American citizens, and then some. So is that ever going to change? Probably not. But I thought it was sick that most people are talking about how gold and silver market are massively being manipulated right now. All right. But those people who are in the market or have been in the market, some of us for a long time. I've been preaching to people since the end of 2018 for everybody started jumping into gold and silver way back in my group on 2018. And the hidden things in front of your eyes. That's when things were a lot more cheaper then. But nonetheless, anyways, we're seeing today, what are we seeing today? A rebound on cryptocurrencies as well as gold and silver. So let's get into that real quick. You guys, if you're thinking about buying precious metals, which you need to now, most of us are way ahead of the curve. That doesn't mean you can't jump on this. Now, the big whales, the big dollar people, the billionaires out there, the hedge funds, the pension funds, all these people now moving over into gold and silver in many different ways. And they're still claiming there hasn't been a rush yet, which blows my mind. All right. They're saying, well, the rush hasn't started yet, but it's definitely the start of a bull market, and everybody knows that. So we're going to get into that. I want to give a quick thanks and shout out to, what do I do with it? Hold on one second here. There we go. A shout out to Hello World on Twitter, who shot me over this article, and I said I would look into it. And there are some interesting things on there. So someone trying to corner the market, hell yeah, they always do. JP Morgan is the world's largest holder of silver, and they are part of the corrupt bank system. So are they trying to? Yeah, and they've been able to control the markets for a long time. Okay, so I appreciate you bringing this up to my attention. The article, it's a little dated, but that's okay. It still plays a huge part in what we're talking about. Everybody, we have Pimpy's Investment Chat. It's the same name as the YouTube channel. Come on over here. We talk about investment opportunities, gold, silver, as well as cryptocurrencies and foreign currency investments. All right, no politics in there, please. Bring the politics over here to the hidden things in front of your eyes. We talk about NESARA, GESARA, politics, current events, QAnon. 9/11 false flag events, the whole 9 yards. I don't mind that you talk about it here. And just be respectful of one another. For those of you who do not have a Facebook account, I do have a Twitter account, and the link is in the description. So come on over there and join me on Twitter as well. Here's what I'm talking about. We're seeing a rebound, and a nice rebound happening right now with cryptocurrencies. For those who are interested in buying cryptocurrencies, there is a link in the description. Right now, they're down. All right, I told you guys when Ethereum was down to 327, I said, you guys, it's going to go back up. You should jump on it anytime. Look at it, it's already at 375 and climbing. All right, so again, this happens. There's huge volatility inside cryptocurrencies, and they have big swings compared to other ones. All right, so you can't panic. You always buy on the dip and ride that bad boy up. All right, so again, there they go. The cryptocurrencies are making a run for it. So is gold. Gold has had a single day average pickup, a big one. And silver, almost at $28 again. See, do you guys see what I'm talking about? When they go down, what do I say? Don't panic. Buy on the dip. You guys should not be stressing when the prices go down. They do this. Everybody and their mama right now knows we're at the starting of a bull run. This is good. That means the prices are going to continue to go up and up and up for years to come. In my opinion, I think you're going to see some pretty big jumps in this bull run. Okay? So, again, I want to bring this to your attention. You can see gold and silver are going up. Hopefully, you guys were able to buy on the dip. Look at this. Gold prices tallies best one-day gain since August. Dollar weakened. Look at this. Look at this. Gold futures climb on Monday to tally their largest one-day gain in the month so far. as weakness in the dollar and low government bond yields help to keep the precious metals trading in a range that some market experts see as forming a bullish pattern. Jim Wyckoff, senior analysis at Kitco, said that the gold may be set to break higher despite gains in equities that have suggested the risk appetite in Wall Street is improving. No, we know it's artificially pumped. We're not falling for it. All right? Don't fall for it whatsoever. So importantly, recent sideways and choppy price actions on gold has produced a bullish cooling pattern on the daily bar chart, suggesting that the market is storing up energy for a bigger price move coming soon, possibly this week. I told you guys something about the month of September. I don't know what people are building up to. Whatever it is, it's going to happen in October. There are tons of signs that this is going to happen. So this is the report that we were talking about. It shows you that there's a shortage on silver. This report is a little bit older. It's from August 21st, but nonetheless, it goes on to say that what was happening is a lot of these refineries, what they were doing was choosing and making gold a priority over silver, causing the shortage as well. But the problem is there's a lot of long contracts with silver, and people are demanding physical ownership of the precious metals. And so it's making it really hard for the demand to be met. And we still haven't even started a rush. We're seeing those big dollar people, those billionaire people, those hedge fund people, all making their move like they should over into precious metals. And you're seeing the contracts, people wanting delivery same day instead of over time. This is a huge indicator that these people are starting to make their move, have been making their moves. We're way ahead of the curve, and you're going to see a shortage, which is going to drive up the value of gold and silver. So I told you guys, people are like, well, Pimpy, what happens when, gold and silver gets to this high mark? Let's just hypothetically say that silver magically becomes $4,000 an ounce and gold becomes $31,000 an ounce. Who's going to buy it? These people, the hedge fund people, the pension people, these billionaires, they'll buy it. That's who. Don't think because they're buying on the low end and it doesn't get higher. They want to own precious metals. It helps protect their wealth. I'm sure back in 2013, when it was $20 an ounce, they never thought that, what was it? Was it in the 70s? I think it was. Sometimes in the 70s, sometime in the 70s, I showed you guys this chart. It jumped up from $50 on up to $550 in like 18 months. That's a huge jump in the value of gold, from $50 up to about $550, and only took 18 months. That is an enormous jump, all right? That's the kind of stuff we're going to be looking at. And there, people bought it, and look where we are today, and people are still buying it. It'll go up, and guess what'll happen? And people will still buy it. Those who can afford it, okay? I'm telling you, if you're buying gold and silver, just keep stacking. Don't stop. Don't let anything you hear out there discourage you. Don't let the prices you see on the market, they don't matter. We watch them, but they don't matter. That's not the real value of gold and silver. Okay, everybody knows this. Everybody knows that there's a shortage. Everybody knows that there's markets are being manipulated. The entire time in a conference, the silver bugs were dancing around because they're seeing, of course, silver outperform gold. And the anticipation is it's going to outperform it big time. And there's a lot of experts that really believe within the next 10 to 15 years, silver will easily pass gold as the more valuable between the two precious metals, okay? We're going to listen here to Kitco. You know, I love these guys. We got Frank Holmes on here, and he's talking about new records for gold, commodities, and the sweet spots. Let's listen to what he has to say. I'm going to comment a little bit as we go along.
Data is suggesting that big changes are happening for both the commodities and stock markets, and these are the indicators that investors need to be paying attention to right now. Joining me today is Frank Holmes, CEO of U.S. Global Investors. Frank, the Purchasing Managers Index is up again. The latest data point is at 56. The last time that the index was at this high of a level was way back in 2018. How have we seen such a rapid recovery from the summer lows following COVID?
Well, what's important is to look at, when you look at macro forces, and the Purchasing Manufacturers Index is a forward-looking index. The GDP number is behind this. So the Purchasing Manufacturing Index is a precursor for commodity demand. And what we saw earlier this year is it fell off a cliff. That is, China, Europe, and America fell below 50, and fell to 35. Immediately,
Yikes.
China was the first to open up the spigot to fight the coronavirus and all the concerns of it. And then you saw the US, and then you saw Europe. What's interesting is that the trend was down with the battle between China and America over trade war. And that's important, David, because China and America are 40% of the world trade. And China is 53% of all commodity demand. Well, commodity demand is highly correlated to PMI numbers in China and America. So I always like to follow that. And so when we see the uptick in PMI, get ready for higher inflation. We've seen oil surge above 40 with it. We saw copper prices surge. Look at copper's been on a spectacular trend. That means people are ordering copper for housing, for making machines, for cars. You need much more copper for Tesla cars, etc. And any type of supply restriction out of Chile, and copper can all of a sudden surge 15%.
Now, did you hear that? Because a lot of you have been asking me, Pimpy, how come we don't talk about copper? You know, I brought it up a couple of times, and maybe you're right. I should bring it up more. You literally can go to Amazon and buy these 100-ounce bars or 1,000-ounce bars of copper fairly cheap. But he's talking about there's a 15% increase, and it's going to continue to go up. All right. So, yeah, I mean, as far as precious metals are concerned, copper is one of those ones that nobody really talks about, but it actually goes up. For those of you who can't afford silver and gold, maybe invest into copper. Now, you won't see too big of a jump. Now, that's not true. Let me reword this. Because of the value of copper, when it does go up, it doesn't seem like a big jump, but you can really store a lot of copper. I actually have copper. You could buy copper coins from these different places that sell gold and silver bullions. You'd be surprised how many copper coins, 1-ounce coins, you can get. I mean, you can get thousands of them very, very cheap. I mean, like 40, 50 bucks for 1,000 of these coins. All right. So there's nothing wrong with having copper as well. Many of you said, Pimpy, why aren't you not talking about copper? My bad. I know I should. So I'll try to keep an eye on the market and see how it's doing. As a matter of fact, maybe what I do in all my fictitious stock watch video, I might move some of my money into copper just so we could watch how it's doing, because many of you brought it up. Okay. So you heard this guy. He's saying right now it's one of those underwatched precious metals, and that is nobody's really paying attention to it, and it has been steadily going up.
Yeah. So it's important to note that in all these three areas, China, the Euro area, and the US, they've all seen contractionary PMI numbers this year as a result of COVID, but they've all recovered quite rapidly. How much of this was due to government policies? Had it not been for fiscal and monetary stimulus, do you think we would have seen this recovery?
No, not at all. There's just clearly the world would be in a depression worse than the 30s. And the cartel of the G20 finance ministers is working well, and they're all printing money. And in election years in some different countries, they all print more. So we're going to see sort of an incredible amount of trillions of dollars being spent. And it's good to see because it's showing up in the PMI. The other positive note, which is showing up here in the US, is travel. So the travel hit. America a year ago used to process 2.7 million people a day, 700,000 from international flights, 2 million domestically. It fell down to less than 90,000 people a day in April. Well, that just hit an all-time high here in the past 5 months, last Friday, and almost up tenfold. So I think when we see the trade of more people flying every day, and we get over 1 million people, just like we now have PMI above 50, then we're going to see even stronger inflationary numbers.
Yeah. Do you think there's still going to be as much flight activity now in the fall as in the summertime? People are coming back from vacation. They're coming back to work after Labor Day. Can that be a headwind for airline activity, you think?
No. I think it's just a psychology of feeling safe. And then after that, it's going to be the cost of tickets. And the cost of tickets are quite low.
So, Frank, on the topic of inflation, CPI numbers came in last Friday. August's reading was 1.3% year on year, which is up from July's 1%. So we are seeing a bit of an uptick in inflation, but you were telling me that the CPI is not a perfect indicator for what's really happening with inflation. Is that correct?
Yes, I am. And there's two parts to look at this. First of all, CPI 1.3 take a look at the 10-year and 5-year and 2-year government bonds. You're losing money if you buy those bonds. It locked in for that time period. So that's a negative real rate of return. That means gold commodities trade higher. Okay. 2, if you use the CPI number that was used in 1980 when gold hit $850, silver $50 an ounce, the gold-silver ratio was 17-1. If you use that model today, inflation is over 8%. I personally relate to, in my inflation, I am seeing is up 8%.
Okay, let's go back to PMI now. How can we link this back to investments? Why would PMI be a positive factor for stock markets? I mean, the counter argument here would be that if the economy is picking up, the Federal Reserve doesn't need to pump in as much money anymore, but for stimulus, and that would actually be bad for equities markets, wouldn't it?
We're still a long way away, David. I mean, I talked about the airlines. In April, they fell down to less than 90,000 people a day flying. A year ago, it was 2.7 million.
All right, he's going to start getting sidetracked for a little bit before it goes back to gold and silver, so I don't want to bore you with all the rest of this stuff. The point being, this guy's watching the PMI. He's watching what's going on in all these different countries. All these different countries know what, they're pumping money out like it's candy. They know inflation is not only is inflation going to hit, but in some cases, super inflation. And what that does is it weakens the dollar in all these countries. And what do they have to fall back onto? Their safe havens, which are what? Gold and silver. All right. So again, these next couple of months are going to tell us a whole lot. You know what I mean? We're going to see some movement happen here very shortly. So you guys keep thinking, am I running out of time? Look, don't focus on the time. Just do what you can while you can now. Start stacking up. Silver is outperforming gold in a major way. And I anticipate it continuing to do so. All right. Again, we're seeing a rebound on cryptocurrencies. That's expected, but they do that. They're very volatile. And again, gold and silver, best one-day jump, not too bad on gold. That shouldn't be surprising to you. You guys, we've been seeing this and watching this for quite some time. Anyways, this is really exciting, and I was really happy about all the stuff that I heard from these conferences. Some of it was a little shady, though, man. I can't believe what these people get away with, but I'm just letting you know, hang tight, you guys. We're way ahead of the curve, way ahead of everybody else, and just keep stacking, all right? A lot of you are picking up a lot of silver, and that makes me very happy. And again, if you haven't yet, go check out our friends over at Money Metals Exchange. The link is in the description. If you want to buy cryptocurrencies, the link is in the description. All right, you guys, that's it for now. Hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I surely do appreciate it. I'll catch you later.